Hello everyone, Ray here. Now we finally have a phone which has a headphone jack and doesn't explode. All we know it is the Asus Zenfone 3 Deluxe. This is undoubtedly the most beautiful, well-built, high-end Asus device that you all and I have ever touched. But at the same time it is one of the more expensive offer from this manufacturer. With literally no advantage on the price tag, is it a good or even a great flagship monster? With 6GB of RAM? That's the question I will be trying to answer in this video. With the iconic concentric pattern on both the top and the bottom part of the front panel, not only the Zenfone 3 Deluxe looks premium but also an Asus flagship device. However, unlike the Zenfone 3, the chassis here on the Deluxe version is made out of aluminum instead of glass on the back. With no antenna lines on the back, it is one of the more sophisticated and clean metal body design. Oh, and do pay attention to the buttons. The same old concentric pattern on the metallic power button and the volume rockers add bonus marks to the overall build quality. Together with the slightly curved design on the back, the 4.2mm frame does make the phone feel much thinner than it actually is, which is measured at 7.5mm at its thickest point. Still really skinny. It is also a huge step up for Asus to slimmer the bezel to finally a reasonably thin one. The device is now finally sleek and modern. Speaking of modern, the capacitive keys are now finally backlit. Without any silver painting on top, the Zenfone 3 Deluxe much more up-to-date compared to the standard Zenfone 3 with those humongous bezels and non-backlit keys. The more modern Deluxe also packs a responsive fingerprint sensor on the back. It is not the fastest sensor I've seen, but definitely one of the smarter design, which allows you to open a camera app just double tapping the sensor, and even take selfies without actually touching the on-screen button. Diving deep into the system, we will find loads of customization settings, from the transition animations to even the size of the icons, and even the style, the theme of the folders. With 6GB of RAM, of course Asus continues to put as many functions as they could. Therefore we have the memory consuming live screen broadcasting mode, with connections to YouTube and Twitch. The embedded selfie window completes the package for content creators and casual gamers who want to share their exciting moments. Alright gaming, the 6GB of RAM thing will not actually improve the graphics quality nor the loading time immediately, as some of you may have some sort of expectation. Meanwhile, that huge amount of RAM, it handles multiple large games and apps at the same time, as smooth as when it was just handling one. Switching between games and apps is as snappy as an iPhone without any delay, combined with the Snapdragon 820 powerhouse alongside with the best GPU on the market, the Adreno 530, the Zenfone 3 Deluxe, the real deal for serious mobile gamers. It also provides promising performance in day-to-day media consumption. According to our controlled speed test that every single device runs the same app list, it crossed the first finish line around 110 seconds, which is similar to other Snapdragon 820 devices. But as I mentioned before, it switches between apps and games in milliseconds. The smoothness on multitasking can be proved on the second round as well. It did overtook the S7 Edge. The time needed to complete the second round alone was actually the shortest in our record, except the iPhone, running a different OS. And here are some benchmarks, just for reference. The camera package on the Zenfone 3 Deluxe also outstanding, at least on papers. the 23MP sensor is backed with an f2.0 aperture lens and 4S optical image stabilization, together with Tritech autofocus technology and 4K recording capability. Software features including light mode, super low light, super resolution, and of course manual mode, which gives full access to settings like ISO and shutter speed up to 32 seconds. Magnificent. The actual performance though is above average, not impressive. Colors are vibrant with high color saturation and wide dynamic range. However, texture and details are just average. Artifact is noticeable even under broad daylight. The 23MP sensors shoot large and high-resolution pictures, but not necessarily crisp. Those artifacts account for the relatively low level of details compared to other flagship devices. In low-light environment, it keeps bringing even more light to the pictures than in the actual lighting conditions, but artifact is still the major downside. Overall, it gets the job done. Optical image stabilization does increase the chance to get a clear shot. On the other hand, the Zenfone 3 Deluxe got a 1080p Super AMOLED display with 100% of NTSC color gamut. It is not the brightest and sharpest display, but certainly a really vibrant display, with terrific contrast ratio and deep black. Media consumption on a 5.5 inches AMOLED display is sweet. Unfortunately, it didn't have followed the new standard of flagship devices, featuring a dual speaker setup with one front-firing speaker and a bottom-firing one. The single speaker here is crisp and bassy, but a little bit soft. What really surprised me though was the audio quality via the headphone jack. With a dedicated DAC, not only does it support 24-bit 892 kHz output, but also provides strong and punchy bass. And yeah, a headphone jack. Last but certainly not least, the 3000 mAh battery is reliable throughout the day. After 4 hours of YouTube videos playback, 50% of the juice was left. It is not the best, but definitely an impressive result. So here we have the Asus Zenfone 3 Deluxe, with the best ever design and build quality from Asus. 6GB of RAM backed with the latest and greatest processor, the most customizable stock user interface, a vibrant display, outstanding audio quality via headphones, and impressive battery life. It is not as affordable as the regular Zenfone 3, but the added Deluxe name does mean deluxe. The only two downsides I could find on this Deluxe package are the just above average camera and the single down-firing speaker. Is it worth the Deluxe price tag? Comments below. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel in order to watch the latest review right after the release. Thanks for watching, see you next time.